Hey guys, here's a follow-up video to the one that I posted yesterday titled Laci Peterson or More Like Darlie Routier. In the first video, I uploaded it to Patreon, which is, by the way, Patreon/Missmensa. That's how you get there if you'd like to sign up. The first video covered how I think it's just incredibly offensive how people who were evidently hired or recruited to push some sort of a false narrative about Christopher Watt's wife after the case hit the headlines, how they repeatedly attempted to line Christopher Watt's wife right up next to Laci Peterson and say, oh, look at the similarities, when in my opinion, there were none. We were told that Christopher Watt's wife was a college graduate. We were told she was a retired nurse. We were told she worked so hard and she was so highly successful. In fact, Laci Peterson was a college graduate. Yes, she was very hardworking. She was actually very successful, and she was only 27 years old, not somewhere between 34 and 40. Laci Peterson's wedding photos, that was actually her first wedding. Yeah. And this whole idea that the girlfriend came along and totally, turned Christopher Watt's wife's world upside down, I say baloney. That's my take on it, baloney. I don't think that Christopher Watts was lying to his coworker at all. I think that marriage was already long gone. That bell was already rung. That horse had already left the stables. That marriage was over. Maybe it was over in December when Christopher Watt's wife stopped making the house payments. I don't know. Or maybe in early July when she told a hairstylist that she was getting a divorce and looking forward to being single again. Whatever. That marriage was done. In Laci's case, that marriage wasn't done. Her husband was lying to her and to his girlfriend. And by the way, the scumbag attackers who have been hired and recruited and whatever, maybe they're just blind followers, to push this false narrative about how great, how successful, how rich, how whatever, that Christopher Watt's wife supposedly was. Each and every one of them mispronounces Scott Peterson's girlfriend's name. There are so many channels out there, channel creators out there who are saying like, ha ha ha, Missmensa thinks that there's a script. Well, it's obvious. There's been a script right from the start. If all of you get the pronunciation wrong, honey, that's no small coincidence at all. In my opinion, Christopher Watt's wife failed to succeed at anything in her lifetime. Sad to say, I know, it's sad to say. My opinion, I think that she needed help. And I think that there were a lot of people who didn't do her any favors by pretending along with her that she was some sort of a big success story. But even more importantly than that, to me, is the fact that poor little Bella and Cece were not protected. And that is absolutely unacceptable. Laci Peterson was highly successful. Their marriage was even successful for a time, unlike the case of Christopher Watt's, where that marriage was shit to begin with. His entire family did not attend the wedding. Only after his bride-to-be offended one after another with insults, with ridicule, with out-of-line behavior, firing the ring bearer, firing the flower girl. Let's not pretend that away. In my opinion, if Christopher Watt's wife is to be compared to any other woman in any other case that we've been discussing in the true crime community and social media, well, in my opinion, that case would be the case of Darlie Routier. Except, like Laci, Darlie was much younger than Christopher Watt's wife. And that's a point that I think has been missed in any discussion on this case. Christopher Watt's wife was not 27 years old like Laci and Darlie both were. Christopher Watt's wife was at least 34, and a lot of us think she was a hell of a lot older. And look at her life. She didn't own a car. She didn't have any assets. Her husband was in love with another woman. The marriage was over. Come on. Be real. We all know it. The children were in daycare full time while she sat on her duff all day on social media. And that big success that she had with all those MLMs she signed up for, well, if she was so damn successful, then why didn't she have any money the day she died? Why were bill collectors calling the morning that she died? Where were the house payments? Where was the $10,000 that Christopher Watts had to take out of his 401k in order to try to save the house after his wife went a few months without paying any house payments? Laci was actually successful, and so was Darlie Routier. She actually was a stay-at-home mom, and in her case, the kids stayed home with her. She also worked her duff off for her husband to have the career that he had, and they made, in I think a couple of years at least, upwards of $250,000 to $300,000 per year. Christopher Watt's wife? Yeah. Whatever. I'm not saying that Christopher Watt's wife was just like Darlie Routier, but I am saying that I do not believe that Christopher Watt's wife was anything close to Laci Peterson. Just saying. The similarities between Christopher Watt's wife and Darlie Routier are kind of alarming if you take a closer look. They were both frustrated about the finances. They both claimed to be stay-at-home moms, even though, like we've said earlier, Christopher Watt's wife stayed at home, even though the children were in daycare full-time. They both wanted to travel regardless of how much money they had in the bank. They both wanted to keep spending money regardless of how much money they had in the bank. They both had notices on past due mortgage payments. Although in Darlie's case, she actually caught those payments up. They both, according to people who have contacted me in both cases, they both seem to have kind of a quick temper. And people seem to walk around, tiptoeing around them because they didn't want to set them off. They both thought it was just dandy to hop on a plane and take off with their girlfriends, no matter how broke they were, leaving their husbands and kids behind. And they both asked a few questions about custody. Darlie told her good friend that she realized that she did need help, but that she was concerned how that may appear down the road in a custody battle if she went for counseling. And of course, Christopher Watt's wife didn't mind asking a stranger all about custody issues. I think it was in late March of 2018, 5 months before little Bella and Cece Watts were murdered in what should have been the safety of their own home. So custody appears to have been in the forefront of each woman's minds. Interesting. They both also had words with their husbands immediately preceding the murders of 2 of their children. Laci Peterson? Any comparison between Laci Peterson and Christopher Watts' wife? Not so much. But if you want to compare Darlie Routier with Christopher Watts' wife, well, tell you what, I'll go ahead and make a list of all of the similarities between the 2 women, and I'll try to put another video up this afternoon addressing those similarities, because in my opinion, there are many.